Hi, I'm Senna. I'm 18 years old and from Germany. This summer, I got the opportunity to do an interrail with a scholarship of the Schwarzkopf Foundation Young Europe. I decided to dedicate my journey to the European Union. In recent years, the EU had to face more and more struggles. Criticism about the Union has risen enormously. But why? What is it that people like or dislike about the European Union? And what will remain of it in the future, as we saw an increase in far-right and EU-critical votes in this year's European elections? I visited the 6 founder states of the EU to find out how the European idea is seen among all kinds of different people. My main question was the European elections 2024. What remains of the European awareness the summer after the elections? In the following video, you will hear the opinion of randomly chosen EU citizens I met during my journey. They will tell you what they believe and think about Europe. I hope to give you an insight into the different opinions and visions for Europe.
Could you please introduce yourself? Who are you and where are you from?
So I am Anan, I'm from France and I'm also Moroccan. So that's who I am. I'm a student.
Did you vote in this year's European elections?
I did not, but I was planning to. I just got stressed and didn't vote.
Do you believe that the European Union is currently on the right political path, and are they able to solve future problems?
I think right now there are a lot of far right deputies in the parliament, and I guess I could have contributed to that by working, to the opposite, but they also were planning to leave the European Union, so which I guess they probably won't do. Sorry, what was the question again?
Do you believe the European Union is currently on the right political path?
Yeah.
And are they able to solve future problems?
Okay, so depending on how I guess the far right will lead, let's say, this new era in the parliament, I think they can solve problems, but I think the European Union has a lot of power, and depending on the field that they are planning to contribute to, they can change a lot of things. If that was the question, sorry, I forgot about it again.
And what role does the European Union play in your daily life?
Well, I'm on a trip right now. I'm from France, and I did come here for summer classes. And I didn't have to go any. That's what I was talking about. A friend of mine who's from India, and she was asking me if there's any control or something like that in between the countries. And I just told her there are supposed to not be any frontiers. So I guess that's just a small hint of how life is inside the European Union. And I also do study law. So I did study the European Union. I'm not planning to work in that later, but a lot of directives and there's a lot of incentive. No, that's not the right word. The European Union plays a huge role in influencing the laws that will be adopted inside each country. And so I think that it does influence what I do right now. And you can also see what the future of each country will be, depending on what kind of laws the European Union adopts.
And how do you imagine the European Union in 10 years?
In 10 years, I guess with the integration, it will be more uniform. I guess the ultimate goal is to have like one big not one big country, but it's supposed to be the same everywhere, so there will be no differences as like the let's say for gay marriage and things like that. I guess it will be allowed everywhere. Yeah, I just guess more openness maybe.
And then one last question. If you have to summarize the European Union in one word, what would it be?
I think it would be uniformity.
All right. Who are you? Could you please give me your age, your
Yes.
situation?
My name is Robert Arts. I'm a painter and I'm 70 years old. Yes.
Did you vote in this year's European elections?
No, I didn't vote.
Do you believe the European Union is currently on the right political path, and are they doing good things?
Well, they try. I think they try. You must be positive. And yeah, they try. But there's a lot of things they going wrong. I don't know precisely what is going wrong, but a lot of things going wrong. And it still will be the same way because we sit in a difficult time in the world. And I don't believe, I know that, and maybe it's that strange, it shall never be. Later it shall be better. But at this moment we're going in a hard time, very hard time. People are changed, arrogant, angry. They like everything when it goes their way. But when somebody said you do it that way, then they get angry. You can talk anymore. That is the world is changing very fast. Yes, I have my doubts, but the point is we must go in a situation, and that we still here in this situation where we're going to. But the time will be very rough, very hard, very terrible. It is the way I say it, but it is the truth. We're going to happen a lot of bad things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are you?
I'm Jan van der Koog. I'm 70 years old, 70. Won't see that, but it is so, 70 years old. I am, what's the word? Stop working, you know. There's no need to. Not that I'm rich, but I have a good life here in Holland. So.
The next question would be, what role does the European Union play in your daily life?
Little. As, so to speak, consciously. In the background, it's a lot, of course. So now when you ask the question, is many a time the people like me get confronted, and then not so much the consumer, but the people that keep the economics going, like the producers and the entrepreneurs and all that. I know, they have a lot of boundaries against that type of dealing with problems, the way the fastness they make decision making. The non-political approach of the world, but far more material. So this is the thing we do, and how do we do the best. And either you're a Christian or a Jew, if you can, that's the way let's say the people that behind the economics, that's the way they look at it. And in a way they're more powerful than the politicians. For the historic politicians, as they are still, they're off. It's old people up there, and the minute they get up there in the tree, you know, they're corrupted. Otherwise, you can get there. When you're honest, starting from scratch, going up, in the meanwhile you get corrupted or killed. If you really bang the drum, you know, making some noise, which is needed. Yeah, that's. So the entrepreneurs, I don't know the right word, the people that do the business, that make the money for all of us, that provide for the jobs, they are frustrated. The crazy shit about, let's say, a stacker from an apparatus, how it's nice. You have you can buy a radio here, you can buy them there, you can listen everywhere. That's cool. But all this slow decision making, you know. So they have to find a way to make. That's a good question. They have to find a way to really put the advantages into the shopping window, so people will see. Yeah. From what it brings up, what the outcome is. Yeah. It's too little. It's too much detailed shit. I don't know. It's not my job. But they should look at that. A snappiness of decision making. To do that, you need a structure. To make that structure, you have to have your set of values to put on the right places to the right people. Those right people can set the right goals related to the values, and then you go, bang. Will that do?
Who are you?
I'm in Belgium, living in Brussels, working as a computer programmer, and right now doing my lunch break.
Did you vote in this year's European elections?
Yeah.
And do you believe the European Union is currently on the right political path?
To be honest, I don't expect much from the EU.
Alright, what role does the European Union play in your daily life?
Well, I think the main part is the main benefit I get from it is the open borders, that you can cross the borders. But apart from that, it's pretty hard to, yeah. I know there are some nice things like that they forced, for instance, Apple to uniform with the cable format, the USB-C, right? These kind of things, but I think it's more of these sorts of industrial uniformization or stuff like that, more than political improvements of the daily life, I think.
How do you imagine the European Union in 10 years from now?
I don't know. I think it might tend to stretch apart, even though I think, but yeah.
What is the European Union in one word for you?
It's a patchwork of states trying to hold together, but since they don't have the same economical interest, it doesn't always hold properly.
All right, thank you very much. Hi, could you please introduce yourself?
Hey, my name is Lander Weijers. I'm 26 years old. I'm currently working at Café Costume. It's a tailor shop, and when I was younger I studied political sciences, and I have a master in European studies. I live in Antwerp.
Did you vote in this year's European elections?
Yes, I did. I did vote.
Do you believe the European Union is currently on the right political path?
I think it's kind of a big question, because it's a lot of different organs within the union who need to come all together to combine the decision-making process based on difficult votes. So you need to have like a majority in certain things that it's very difficult to complete because you have a lot of countries who back each other, and it's purposely deliberate in some kind of other votes. So like I'm gonna talk a bit more, but you can get the essence out of it later because it's been a while. The main thing I think, yes, on a big part, because it's a big achievement to get the European countries together, and when the European Union will decide how the European Union will go forward. And I think in a lot of things we're doing great, because it's not that easy to combine other cultures within Europe together into one organ that goes forward with the most of the big decisions, because to the broad public it's the European Union who makes the biggest decisions, and national politics have a bit of an influence, but not as much as the European Union has. And I think in overall we're mostly trying to do a good job. It's like European Union tries to be a normative power, like we will settle out what is good and what's the way forward. But when you look a bit closer, we lack in very, very much things, because decision-making organ is that spread. So it's very hard to make quick changes, even changes on a longer term. So we still keep falling over issues that were a problem like 10 years ago, that will be a problem 10 years from now on. So sometimes it's just a bit too slow, everything that's happening. That bothers me a lot. But in a certain way, I think we're doing a great job. For just like a Belgian country, on ourselves, we wouldn't have get that much progress without the union. So like economically, socially, in other ways, and we are quite strong on social norms like LGBTQ rights, and we're a very progressive country in lawmaking. It's very nice that you can combine that on a bigger level and discuss with other countries to like certain issues to get a broader public. But certain ways it's like the inactivity in some situations, like the Palestinian situation with Israel. You see the leaders don't dare to take a direct standpoint because you have so many countries. Some are pro, some are against, and it's a whole lot of good intentions but really doing nothing. So I think it's slowly going the right way, but I wouldn't mind it if there was like you needed less of a majority to get laws through, like more in national politics. Like if you have a majority, all right, we're going through with that. Now sometimes it's just like, oh, we don't have those 3 countries, so we need to wait with that progressive law, and we need to wait another 4 years and 4 years. So it's like the institutionalized system is a bit too slow and too diversified to make real and good change on a short level or on a short term. Sometimes it's need to be to make real changes, like in economical crisis or all that stuff.
Right.
Right.
And what role does the European Union play in your daily life?
To be honest, right now in my daily life, much to zero, I think. It's like I live in a bubble. I live in my city. I work 5 minutes from my home. So it's just really centralized. I live in Antwerp. Sometimes I visit Brussels or something, but you don't really notice anything in your personal life unless you're still busy with all the European problems. But to be honest, now that I have my work and I forgot my studies, I'm not working in the line of my studies. So you just go on about and you do your life. It's only when you're closely following the news or the things that are going on that you can feel like which influence the European Union has on like taxing policy as well in this country, as war policy and general problematics. But if you focus on my job, which I do now, just like I can go on and about without even noticing there is something like the European Union, to be honest. That's something I have with a lot of my friends. I just have the background in it, so you know it's there. A lot of my friends are there, oh yeah, you need to vote for Europe, right? So that kind of thing, it doesn't have a direct influence in many of our lives, or certainly in many of my peers. They're just like, oh yeah, it's a thing that exists, oh well, so that is it.
All right, thank you. And how do you imagine the European Union in 10 years from now?
To be honest, it's quite a difficult question. The question most certainly because of the Brexit still. Because Brexit is like one of the first major examples of a big country, a country of importance in the Union, that was like, all right, we're gonna step out of it. We're not gonna do this anymore. We're leaving. And you have like a bit of right party movements in the Netherlands with Geert Wilders. You have them in Bulgaria. You have them in Hungary for sure. You have them in Poland for sure. You have them even in Belgium called Vlaams Belang, and they're getting a lot more attention, just simply because it's are populistic parties. They're like, everything is bad, we can put it off to the European Union, because it's much better to say this and this and this is hard. For example, migration crisis, which not exactly, but they did their best to manage it. But everything from migration on, the far right parties are like, it's a fault of the European Union that we need to take so many people in, and same with certain tax policies of economic policies, and it's easy for some parties to make advantage of that for common people who doesn't even feel the good things. But populistic parties like, yeah, those are the bad things, and that's a particularly heavy weight on the European Union as such, which gives me a bit of doubt if they're going to get more and more votes, and it will compartmentalize the European Union or make it a bit more fragile. On the other hand, it's just a simple fact, we live in a globalized world, and as a small countries in say like the Netherlands, Belgium, Spain, Portugal, they're not going to have any influence on economical world policies if they're just countries by themselves. They will just be led by far greater economical companies who are like, they have so much economical interest in one country, and as a union we can still have laws. Fine, you need to obey those work. I'm forgetting the word of people who work. Yeah, like the whole. You have like no, it's just how I'm gonna put this. We have a minimum wage installed across the European Union, but if there are like certain poorer countries like Portugal skip the European Union and there goes a big economical company to that land, they can lower the wages. But because we have the union, those countries can't do that. They still need to pay the minimum wage. Big companies still need to pay a lot of taxes to the union. They still need to give their workers a fair share, by overall much fairer share than in other countries. And it's something like, I think, I hope that intensifies, because like you don't have political power above economical power, within economical power, political power. So I hope the European Union can keep it together. We're doing fairly well in Europe, to be honest. We're doing quite well, everybody. We're sitting here on Tuesday having drinks. But if the union can make itself a bit stronger, put itself out there, I think we can be a main economical power and even be a more global power, in contradiction to the United States, which I think it's big thing when you think of Western economics or Western policies, but it's like going to shit. Like these elections, you see, you have Trump again, you have Biden. Fortunately, he dropped out, but it's like unbelievable that we had a Democratic president in the United States or an alt-right president in the United States. It's like the peak of Western civilization. And I just hope within 10 years Europe can be a bit more direct in its decision making to really put a bigger impact on the world as such, and be the normative power they sometimes claim to be, that they really can say, okay, all right, we don't approve this, and now you're gonna listen to us because we're gonna do this, and if you don't listen, you can go fuck off or something. But now it's just like, it can go either ways, I think. So that's why the stress, or other nations are gonna leave, make it more problematic, or the union just gets like a more sense of self and intensifies around the thing we wanted to be in the first place as a union, and go further as a union and make decisions in that manner. So.
All right, thank you. And what is the European Union in one word for you?
Idealistic, I think.
Alright, who are you?
I'm a French 40 years old unemployed guy.
Did you vote in this year's European elections?
No.
Do you believe in the European Union? Do you believe the European Union is currently on the right political path?
There is many fields on this political path, so probably some are good, but most of what I see is not very good.
what role does the European Union play in your daily life?
I'm not conscious about it very well because I never thought about it very well. But because of the laws that the Brussels Parliament, let's say, vote, they are above the laws of each countries. So they probably affect my daily life, even without me knowing it.
Yes. How do you imagine the European Union in 10 years from now?
I don't know, but not in a good situation.
And the European Union in one word, what is it for you?
A trap. Yeah, I think it's a trap.
Thank you.
I'm Thomas, I'm 22 years old and I live in Toulouse, which is the best city in France, and I'm DJ for my living. That's it.
Did you vote in this year's European elections?
9.
Do you believe the EU is currently on the right political path? Like, are they doing everything good or should they improve?
For me it's working well, yeah. All the things that unite Europe help me travel, so it's okay.
And what role does the European Union play in your daily life?
Making sure that we can understand each other in Europe, like that the fact we have the same currency, same politics, things, yeah. And peace also.
And how do you imagine the European Union in 10 years from now?
Same, with more countries maybe, and less wars.
And what is the European Union in one word for you?
Wow. I would have said Europe, but a continent?
All right, thank you.
I am Melina. I am 35 years old, 34 years old. I'm a medical doctor. I live in Marseille, France. I have recently moved here, so I'm single and I live in Marseille by myself. That's it about me.
Did you vote in this year's European elections?
I did vote in this year's elections. I voted as a Greek citizenship, so I had to apply for my. I had to apply so as to vote at a distance for my country's candidates. So I had the papers sent by the post, and I voted like that.
Do you believe the European Union is currently on the right political path?
I would say this brings me to a more general question, or more like large question. If all the members and if all countries are even on the correct political path, because I believe it's kind of essentially connected. So I believe that no, the European Parliament is not in the correct path, and that reflects the fact that almost all separate European country members are heading to the wrong direction for me.
What role does the European Union play in your daily life?
I would say I don't feel that in my everyday life, but if I take some few moments to think about it, I would start by the very obvious to me truth that if it was not for the European Union and the links it has established between the countries, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have been here. I wouldn't have been able to move and work here. At least it would have been much more difficult for me. So this is for me an essentially very, very positive part that impacts my life very directly. That is the thing that mostly comes to my mind.
How do you imagine the European Union in 10 years from now?
I try to be optimist, but judging from the latest elections, not just these ones, but the previous ones as well, I believe that most probably there will be a further move towards the right parties, the right political parties. In the global scale, I think that the European Union will lose its power comparing to the stronger economies and I might think that the Eastern countries, mostly Asian countries, might continue to grow economically and scientifically, and this will affect the European Union, not in a way that I think is wrong or not justified. I tend to believe that the European countries, the Europe in general, has long, if I may say, exploited in a way some other countries of the world, and I think that soon enough, I cannot estimate how much time that will be, but maybe in the next few years there will be a change in the balance of power globally.
And what is the European Union in one word for you?
For me, really, it's about exchange, because that's the way I have seen myself being a European citizenship through the years until now, mostly throughout my college year and my university studies. That's it.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, who are you?
Ποιος είστε και πες μας λίγα λόγια για σένα.
Τι να πω, για μένα?
Ναι, όνομα, ηλικία, καταγωγή κτλ. Επάγγελμα.
Μ' ακούτε?
Ναι, πες.
Λοιπόν, είμαι ο Άγγελος Χατζικοσταντίνου, αρχιτέκτονας. Η ηλικία μου είναι 64 ετών. Τι να πω άλλο. Να πω και πώς πολιτικά, πώς αισθάνομαι.
Όχι, εντάξει. Okay. Next question. Περίμενε.
Did you vote in this year's European elections?
Ψήφισες στις ευρωεκλογές φέτος?
Ναι, ψήφισα.
Ναι, φυσικά. Yes,
ψήφισα, ναι.
Do you believe the European Union is currently on the right political path?
Πιστεύεις ότι η Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση είναι αυτή τη στιγμή στο σωστό πολιτικό μονοπάτι, στη σωστή κατεύθυνση?
Όχι, δεν το πιστεύω. Πιστεύω ότι η Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση είναι στο ίδιο μονοπάτι που ήταν εδώ και χρόνια. Δηλαδή, είναι μια ένωση μόνο κεφαλαίων και καθόλου μια πολιτική ένωση. Δεν έχει ούτε ομοσπονδιακή αμυντική πολιτική, ούτε και κοινωνική πολιτική. Αυτό που ζούμε ως Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση είναι συνεχώς μια πώς να πω, μία ενίσχυση των δυνάμεων, των συντηρητικών δυνάμεων και των ακροδεξιών κατ' επέκταση. Λοιπόν, δυστυχώς γι' αυτό το λόγο οι ευθύνες είναι και στον χώρο της αριστεράς, η οποία από ό,τι είδαμε και στις τελευταίες ευρωεκλογές φθήνει. Αυτά, καταρχήν.
Okay.
Εγώ ψήφισα τις τελευταίες ευρωεκλογές αριστερά.
Ωραία. Περίμενα.
What role does the European Union play in your daily life?
Τι ρόλο πιστεύεις ότι παίζει η Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση στην καθημερινότητά σου?
Νομίζω πολύ μικρό, γιατί μικρό θετικά και μεγάλο αρνητικά. Νομίζω ότι η Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση ουσιαστικά δεν παρεμβαίνει ή δεν θέλει να παρέμβει σε όλες τις κυβερνήσεις οι οποίες έχουν πάρει μία στροφή στον αυταρχισμό, στην στέρηση δημοκρατικών δικαιωμάτων των πολιτών, έτσι και σε μία στροφή γενικότερα συντηρητικοποίησης και ελέγχου των κοινωνιών. Αυτό πιστεύω ότι είναι η Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση. Γι' αυτό το λόγο και αυξάνονται συνεχώς μέσα από αυτή την κρίση, η οποία είναι και κρίση ουσιαστικά της μισθωτής εργασίας. Δηλαδή αυτοί που περνάνε την κρίση σήμερα είναι οι κατώτερες τάξεις, έτσι. Γιατί κάποιοι συνεχίζουν να συσσωρεύουν όλο και μεγαλύτερα κέρδη. Άρα λοιπόν η Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση από τη στιγμή που δεν παρεμβαίνει σε αυτό το επίπεδο, δηλαδή να γίνει η Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση μια ένωση πολιτών και όχι μόνο μια ένωση κεφαλαίου, τόσο θα αυξάνονται ο κόσμος δυστυχώς λόγω για της έλλειψης μιας αριστεράς που να δίνει προτάσεις για σήμερα και αύριο, τόσο θα αυξάνεται οι δυνάμεις της ακροδεξιάς. Γι' αυτό, γιατί οι πολίτες δεν βλέπουν ότι η Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση μπορεί να παίξει ένα ρόλο πάνω στην καθημερινότητά τους. Δεν παίζει κανένα ρόλο. Τα παραδείγματα είναι πολλά. Στην Ελλάδα ειδικά έχουμε ζήσει τα τελευταία 4-5 χρόνια ένα κράτος που θυμίζει στην Ελλάδα τα χρόνια του 50 και του 60, μετά τον εμφύλιο πόλεμο. Ένα κράτος δηλαδή που παρακολουθεί τους πολίτες, ένα κράτος αυταρχικό, ένα κράτος το οποίο ελέγχει πλήρως τη δικαιοσύνη, δηλαδή μια ουρμπανοποίηση σταδιακά της Ευρώπης. Αυτά.
How do you imagine the European Union in 10 years from now?
Πώς φαντάζεσαι την Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση σε 10 χρόνια από τώρα?
Νομίζω σε 10 χρόνια ή 20 από τώρα η Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση θα εξελιχθεί σε μια στιγνή αγορά, έτσι, η οποία δεν θα αφορά τους λαούς ή θα διαλύσει παντελώς. Θα κυριαρχήσουν δηλαδή οι δυνάμεις της ακροδεξιάς και ουσιαστικά θα την καταργήσουν στην πράξη.
What is the European Union in one word for you?
Με μία λέξη πώς το περιέγραφες την Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση?
Μέρντα.
Thank you very much.
Οκ, ευχαριστούμε. Τώρα πρέπει να τα μεταφράσω.
Τα Ιταλικά σημαίνει κατά.
Ναι.
Hello, my name is Ilan Loufrani. I'm French and Israeli citizenship. Currently, I live in France the last 13 years. I'm working in a restaurant. I have a restaurant. And I live in Marseille, in south of France. What else? I'm a single the last 8 months. And that's all, I think.
Did you vote in this
Yes, I did.
Do you believe the European Union is currently on the right political path?
I don't know what do you mean right. I mean it's kind of logic. And, you know, people vote for that, and people who doesn't go to vote, they are not represented. So I think it's a good that's the results.
And are you also happy with what they're currently doing, the European Union? And do you think they will solve the future problems?
It's hard to say because I need to say that as a normal citizen, we don't understand so much what the European Union is doing for us. Of course, every time we travel or we see in the city whatever, we understand that the European Union help states or region or cities to build a huge infrastructure or to help to develop kind of industrial part or whatever. So I think it's very important, and it's help us to help the government to build big projects and maybe to go out of the very political issue like national political issue or. So I'm quite happy with that. I don't know if it's a good tool. I think what do I need to answer something else? Or? Okay.
What role does the European Union play in your daily life?
As I explained, I think in my daily life they build maybe a bridge there or a road over there. Or so thanks. Maybe it's more question of psychologists. Like it's important to be a part of bigger things. Not only like French, but that we have a bigger common issue between European states, that we are different, but we go in the same direction. So for me, it's not about money or whatever, but it's more like that to feel together. I would like to for me, it's we are in the middle of the bridge. We need more. As citizens, we need to be more active. We need to give to Europe. And I understand that we receive, maybe we give by taxes, but we need to give more time. And that will be for me a big message, to.
How do you imagine the European Union in 10 years from now?
As I said, to give more responsibility to citizenship, to the citizen. It's like in a republic, you have rights and you have also. I don't know how to say in English. You need to do stuff for the common. And I think we need to organize that in the same way. That I don't only want to receive things or to pay taxes that I don't even know where they go, but I want to give time. So when I was younger, when I was, I don't remember, 20, I went 1 month in Denmark and after to Greenland. And I was volunteer in an Inuit village in Greenland. And I give 1 month. I think it was like a youth European volunteer organization. I think we need to organize that, but not only for young people, but for everyone. Like few hours a week or months. And for me, Europe will be more inclusive if we do stuff like small things every day.
All right. And the last question is, what is the European Union in one word for
you? It's hard in one word because it's maybe together.
All right. Thank you.
Julian, I'm 43 years old, I'm French, and I work in the cosmetic industry.
Did you vote in this year's European elections?
Yes, I did.
Do you believe the EU is currently on the right political path?
There are some changes, but it's still a big, a lot of countries are together, so it's okay.
What role does the European Union play in your daily life?
In my daily life, not that much. You can't see it every day.
How do you imagine the European Union in 10 years from now?
Still strong, still together, and still a great place in the world.
What is the European Union in one word for you?
Freedom.
All right, thank you.
There's a lot that could be improved in the EU, but there's not enough time in my video to go into detail. Nevertheless, during my trip, I realized that everyone has its own connection, opinion, critique or beliefs about the Union. I tried to meet all kinds of people. I met people highly in favor of the European Union. Others were disappointed or simply couldn't express their opinion. The EU is a bureaucratic institution and sometimes seems unapproachable. Nevertheless, it plays a role in our lives. We can use the same plugs everywhere. We can travel with our identity card, visa-free, and mainly without border controls. When I was traveling, I had no border controls, passing 8 borders. We can do an Erasmus and our degrees are recognized all over the EU. I can call my friends in every EU country without having to pay any fees. None of this would be possible if it weren't for the European Union. Much more is going on in the background without us paying attention to it or knowing about it. Still, it is understandable why people have no connection to the EU. After the elections, the EU feels less important to a majority, making it easier for some to vote against it. Why should I support something that only needs me every 5 years and the rest of the time makes me feel like a burden? Someone asked me during my trip. And honestly, I'm still thinking about the question, and I understand the anger that is behind it. And sometimes even I feel disconnected to the EU. But then I think maybe we just need to let it in our lives more often and remember why the EU was founded in the first place. Peace and security and the recovery of the economy were at the heart of its foundation after the Second World War, a war that was cruel and should never happen again. If we all remember together and don't forget why we needed the EU, it becomes visible why we should remain a union. And sometimes we might just have to accept that not everything happening in EU politics is good. We have to criticize it and question it, but let's not end it. I'm grateful that I was able to go on this trip and meet so many different people. Without the European Union, this would have never been possible.